Speaking of beta codes, our next subject of the night is how developers handle
the beta process.
The beta process. Yeah. So we have a couple ends of the spectrum we want to talk about. One, on the positive end of the spectrum, even though it's a much smaller studio, I feel like High Horse Games or High Horse Entertainment, I think it's games, is handling the Disc Jam beta. They're friends. They're tossing out beta codes left and right. They're just thankful for people playing the game, and the beta code is open indefinitely. There's
genuinely, because we have a side chat with them, and we were talking about it, and I was seriously like, man, I hope you guys just make billions of dollars. It's a super fun game. I want nothing but success. I'm just excited to play it as a fan. And he's like, we're just happy people are playing it. It's cool. It's just a cool feeling. And I was like, man, that's awesome. You guys have passion for what you're doing.
Yeah. It's a great beta. It runs smooth, and they're doing real stress tests, and they're being very transparent about it, with people like, hey, what's working here? He was in the stream last night. He's probably been checking in on several other streams, being watching for problems. It's a very excellent beta process. Now, granted, this is their first big release, and
you missed it actually. Gordy and I were in a match, and then we backed out, and when we backed out, it seemed like it went down for a second.
I was pooping?
Yeah. It seemed like it went down for a second, and it kept making us redo the terms and conditions. And Tim, the head developer, was hang on a second, and then we got back in, and he's like, okay, it was a small hiccup, it's fixed. Oh. That's how active he was being with it while watching it.
That's way cool.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of the coin...
Necrophagous basis. Good for you for making that mention, my friend. Sorry.
Classic necrophage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give you a little stab wound later.
On the other side of the spectrum, I feel like that now we have a very large AAA developer.
Double A?
No, they're AAA for sure.
Well, after MKX sales.
Yeah, we're talking about Netherrealm Studios. The Injustice 2 beta, which is now coming to a close on Tuesday, as of the time of this recording. Nobody tapes anymore.
Live show. We still say it, though, don't we? Right? Yeah. I'm going to tape that.
Yeah. So their beta's closing, and I feel like it's left a bad taste in more members of the community's mouth than it has hype and things that a beta should do. So I thought, we would discuss the ends of the spectrum of the beta, opinions. I'm betting that less than 1%, meaning nobody. I bet nobody in our stream got a beta code.
If you did get a beta code, say it on the stream. I'd be very curious to know, because I stole this line from somebody else. I even told them I was stealing it because their verbiage was perfect. They said it's a marketing beta, because it was. That beta that they did was 100% designed to try and get more sales for the game, and I don't know if it had anything to do whatsoever with just stress tests and those types of things. I'm sure there was some on the backside. If you're an actual coder, those are the things you're invested in. But there was a sign-up process, right? And I know tons of people that are like, man, the second that thing opened up, I was I was in the first 10 minutes, I had my name in there.
Yeah. I signed up instantly. You signed up instantly. I know Slasherflix signed up instantly, and none of us got into the beta. And I'm not salty about it. I don't care that I didn't get into the beta. I'm still going to get the game. I'm still stoked on it. I'm still going to play it. But I do think that it was handled poorly, because I think that there probably was some stress tests involved. But let's be real here. It's running on the exact same servers that MKO's GGPO netcode was running on. It's basically just a new game inserted, code inserted into the servers, or however that works. And and it should run exactly the same. There's probably not a lot of testing they need to do, because they're not building anything from the ground up. I do believe, yes, it was more of a check this out. Because you know what? MK9 was huge. Injustice was pretty big. MKX was the top-selling fighting game, I think, currently of all time in recent memory. It
was one of the top games of last year. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it outsold Street Fighter 4. I think it still hasn't been matched in Street Fighter 5 sales yet. I mean, it was monumentally successful, but they can rely on that with MK. They can. It's got the name behind it. It's a household franchise that's been there for years. With Injustice, I think that's more of not everybody is super aware of it unless you're in the fighting game community. Maybe. I could be wrong. But I feel like that they were well, let's get a beta out there get big names streaming it and stuff like that to get word of the mouth, that we have a new game. It's DC, it's Batman, Superman, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think you're totally right.
And they were very clearly hand-selected, the ones that got codes.
Yeah, so I was watching this interaction. Ed Boon posted a Twitter post that said, it was like a poll. He's like, when did you get into the beta? One was wave 1.
I know what you're going to say, and it just angers me.
Yeah. The options were wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and then the fourth option was, what the fuck, Boone? I didn't get into the beta. And 83% of people at the time of the closing of the poll had voted that they didn't get in. But then the top comment reply to that post was from Sonic Fox, who is the poster child of NRS at the moment. He's won almost every tournament there is. He said, where's my option to pick if I got into wave 0, wink wink. And I was like, man, fuck you, man. That's just like, you're just rubbing salt in the wound because you're the poster child for this development studio that, of course, obviously you were the first one into the beta. You probably even went to the studio and played it before there was a beta. It's just like, and then to gloat about it like that to people that were like, I really want to play the beta, let me in. It's I thought it was in poor taste.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't that's the best way to put it. Like, in poor taste. I'm not going to sit here and throw shade or whatever because it'll just piss off fanboys or whatever. But it left a bad taste in my mouth because I don't like the way they interacted with anybody in the actual community who wasn't like just a superstar. So first off, there was a sign-up process. What was the point of a sign-up process if you're going to have these weird giveaway codes moments where they put them in graphics so you have to type them in and you create these races for people to go in there and do it?
It was like Lord of the Flies for beta codes.
It was Hunger Games.
Everybody was like just wearing like torn up sweaters and they saw like a beta code float and they like stabbed the other kid in the neck for it.
Yeah,
and
like stabbing Piggy in the neck. Yeah. So like I saw that and I was like, you know what? They're clearly doing this just to generate hype for the game. Like, I mean, this was like a AAA. This was a demo. This was a closed demo for the game.
Yeah.
They wanted you in those streams. They wanted to try and generate the hype for it. It had nothing to do with actually testing the game at all from a fan perspective.
Yeah. Now we're not saying that.
Yeah. Don't feel. I'm sure that'll be like misquoted later.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Boss Battle Tim says, "Check this." It's like half of that shit's cut out.
It's like the PewDiePie shit.
Yeah.
Turns out Boss Battle Tim is a racist. Yeah. He doesn't think that.
Yeah. There's like half of a swastika. You don't see the smiley dude, like a little stick figure. Yeah.
But we obviously have no idea what goes on behind the doors in Netherrealm. There could have been monumental tests that we're just, as consumers, are not aware of. And probably. But from a fan...
And like I said, I almost guarantee there are, but like we're looking at this for the casuals. I'll speak for the casuals because that's what I read on Twitter all day long. And I know they can read it too. They're on Twitter. They can search their own keywords. People are like, this is the purpose of this. And because of that... it feels like it's created a rift in the community where people are like, you know what, fuck it, I'm skipping the game.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, you're going to skip it. I know that Asa, who I don't think he's here tonight, but he was
a little vocal.
He was very upset about it. And I'm not going to skip it because it is what it is. Like, I'm not worried about getting into the beta. Like, I'm still going to play it. I think it looks cool. I think it looks fun. And they are my favorite studio because Mortal Kombat is my favorite franchise. Led by my favorite developer, who is Ed Boon. But I gotta say, I really think that Ed Boon handles the community in poor taste. Again, I'll say that again. Lately, like throughout the entire industry of gaming, Ed Boon is well known as a master troll. He trolls the community with just leaks and it gets tiresome as a fan after a while. You're like, Jesus Christ, just fucking say something in a language that we can understand.
Well, and clearly the problem is when you have one developer doing that, and then you have another developer who is forthcoming with everything from the beginning, and you're like, man, I'd like to see this, and this in the game. And they're like, cool, I'll make note of that, and we'll see kind of how it plays out and stuff. Like, they're willing to actually be involved in the community and accept that feedback, not like stand on some pedestal like a fucking weird rock star. Like, you can't even touch me. You can't talk to me. I won't even sign an autograph for you. I will
say, though, he was real cool to me and Gordy when we met him at Evo. Like, he did nice. We interrupted him in an actual conversation. He was with Paulo Garcia watching Injustice, and they were, like, talking about, like, internal stuff about, the game. They're, like, watching. They're like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. They were in a deep conversation, and I just walked up. I was like, Mr. Boone! Yeah. And he was like, oh, hey. And he actually, like, stood there and talked to us for a while. So, in my personal appearance, I think he's a great guy. I just wish that he would, like, tone down his social interactions stuff because, it gets frustrating, trying to talk to a developer you're like a big fan of, and you feel like you're almost being made fun of for being a fan of the thing they made.
Oh,
almost.
totally. Yeah.
It's probably not the way he intends things, but it definitely comes off from that from an outside perspective.
No, it comes as 20 of us in a pit hungry, and he's got like one like rotten apple that he holds above us, because it's not the whole apple. The whole apple's not out yet. It's like this half apple.
Yeah.
Like he took a bite out of it. He was like, "You fuckers want this?" There, and like we all have to like to get the apple, which is fucked up.
That's true.
I don't like it.
Hey, and speaking of dangling apples in front of people, does